bulb on the left sure has a lot of quit in it. What could we do about that? A new pair of headlights for the old Camaro. Let's hope that they work. So I went ahead and dumped most of the peanuts, but at least got a better look to them. Bulbs. So, should have better headlights now. One of my headlights were very dim, and the other one worked fine, and I had to align them, but I'll get to redo that process here pretty soon. All right, I'm about to get started on the headlights. I'm hoping that by going with this, I'm gonna have a lot brighter, safer light to drive with. The lights I had on there, I just did not feel comfortable driving this at night. It's deer season right now. That's another thing that's not good, but I just needed some safer headlights. I've done a headlight conversion on the 59 Ford. Those were a little bit more advanced, I think, than what this is gonna be, but hopefully this goes relatively easy. We'll hope. Oh yeah, these are DOT, SAE, and ECE approved. I was missing one of the screws for the headlight bezels, so I bought some new ones from Firewheel Classics just to be able to outfit them all. I'll probably put the new ones back in, I don't know yet, but I definitely got to use at least one of them. So I'm going to take y'all along on the journey with me on the first one, and then after that I'll probably just time lapse it so that, I mean, I'm assuming that if one goes one way, the other one's going to go much the same. The next step is to cut off the camera and go put some gloves on. The next step is to rehydrate with a new Mountain Dew Zero. I am not sponsored by them, but it would be really nice. I love doing the dew. Okay. That's the easiest part right there, folks. Alright, so the next part, I'm gonna need some flathead screwdriver love to be able to take these chrome bezels off. Hopefully again, that is a painless process. Now remember, these are a little bitty short screws though. Little bitty. Need my old metal cup to hold on to all these. It's a magnetized cup that holds on to all the metal pieces that a feller might lose if he had the want and desire. Should be one more. Get that handy dandy knee pad thing I showed you earlier. When the creeper seat don't work, sometimes you just gotta lay down on your butt or down in a low crouching position. Now, I'm a little bit afraid that this screw is gonna fall into the nothingness if I can't get a hold of it. Ooh, got lucky. Take luck over skill any day. Alright, I am still connected. You know what I forgot to do? I think I forgot. There is a spring in there, and I failed to see said spring. I kept thinking, is there a spring on this? And then I forgot about the spring. Because now that little spring is just a pulling it back in there. So we have a situation called didn't think about this, didn't look. And now we are off in the abyss of nothingness. So we are going to try to remove this old headlight first. slowly but surely it is out of there. There you are, you little spring. put this grommet on over this first. And this reminds me of that scene in Ace Ventura 2 where the rhino has broken and he's trying to squeeze out of the rhino. I need to find some bulb grease somewhere. Let me go look and see if I got it. Wow, thank God. The luck of the Irish. The old luck of the Irish. Okay, that grommet, once you've got it pulled or pushed all the way through there, it'll come down and slide right on around there. Let me see if I can tilt this forward to show you what I'm talking about. So it just slid right over there and it sort of got this held into place. I'm gonna go make sure one more time before I get much further into this that headlight's still working. Don't want to go through all this process, get everything bolted back up, boom, it don't work. Got a headlight, good deal. Make sure it's working on bright and dim. Good deal. So now comes the fun part of trying to see how I'm gonna get that that spring back into where it needs to go. I'll be honest, I don't know how to do that. Okay, I'm of the opinion that you need to put your chrome trim piece on first and attach it to the bucket. You're going to connect into the spring on the left-hand side of the, if you're on the driver's side headlight, connect into that spring and then loosen your adjustment screws all the way out. That way it's easier to get into those tabs. Oh, you just sort of pop it in there. Didn't need that tool at all. In there, it pulls like the dickens. I had to let these way out. I think I'm having a problem. That grommet is so thick, it's keeping a lot of distance off there. So I'm gonna hopefully tighten this down and just see and hope that it don't break anything. It's not quite where it needs to be, but it looks a lot better now. And so now I'm just gonna get in there and make sure it's still working. All right, there's one light. All right, I guess it still works. All right, let's go get an idea on what it looks like now. Oh wow, it's a lot brighter. A lot. All right, I'm gonna keep on working. Now obviously it needs some adjusting, but you can see how much brighter the bulb is on the left as opposed to the one on the right. I just need to continue to move it up. This top screw, it controls, your up and down. And this screw controls your left or right. All right, I'm gonna turn off the lights and just sort of give you just a brief showing of how, screwing the screws in or out on the headlight buckets will raise or lower or make the headlights move left or right. It'll raise it up. All right, let's see what brights look like. that this is not right. Okay, I'm content with that for now until I can actually get it out and have it at a distance to see exactly what I've got. I'm just going to time lapse this side and hopefully it's like the last one. So at this point in the game, I'm still learning how to do this. I would actually advocate that you release some of that tension by loosening the adjustment screws. That's going to loosen that tension off the spring. And then I would just pull off the whole bucket, okay? Don't loosen the chrome piece off of there like I'm doing right here. Loosen the whole bucket and just take the whole bucket off. All right, I've got the new headlight in. I'm just going to get everything back in there and get adjusted, start getting to work on that, being adjusted and looking right. So at this point I've learned. I've attached my chrome piece along with the new headlight system, and I've attached it to now the springs on my right side. I've attached it, put my tabs into the adjustment screws, and I'm doing that. That seems to work a lot better. Okay, there is the new headlights without the the shroud put on or whatever. But I'm gonna see what is left to adjust. I'm gonna turn off all the lights and get back. Maybe a ground issue. That one on the left just does not look as bright. And that's how it was on the other one. Dims, brights. So I'm starting to figure out I've got a wiring problem. And what I do sometimes is I use my phone and the video to be able to get in places that I wouldn't be able to see normally. And I use my phone to video areas so I have a better idea of what I'm working with. Now, we're going to discover later on in this video what's actually causing me all these troubles. You can see my eye pop up right up there to where I'm trying to look down through. But I'm trying to find the ground wire and see where it's run to. The ground wire. Okay, the ground wire is down there. And I don't know how in the world I'm gonna get to it. Maybe pulling out this headlight bucket, I guess. I don't know. Light bucket, and there's a bolt here, a bolt there. And then a bolt on the back side, I think. I think that's the only thing that's holding it in. Man, I sure don't. I mean, yeah, I could take out this whole deal, and I've done that on my other 68, but I ain't trying to take out the whole grill, folks. I mean, I know it can be done. That's not what I'm trying to do. Just keep throwing money at it. That'll fix it. I know that'll work. Just throw money at it. Okay, my headlights weren't working right. I went into this knowing that the passenger side light wasn't working properly, or at least it wasn't as bright. Now, I knew better, but I ignorantly just thought, okay, well, it's just the bulb's going bad. And that's rarely the problem. I believe it's usually a grounding issue or a grounding problem. I've spent tons of hours on trying to figure out, grounding this right and everything else. And so finally, sort of like I just said, I'm throwing money at it. And I believe, hopefully what will fix it is a wiring harness. Okay, I had to put that on my 59 Ford truck that some of y'all have seen. Now, let me whisk around here real quick. So I upgraded the headlights in my 59. Hey, before I forget, this is the headlight harness that I used. It's worked out really well. It cost about $50 shipped to me. Bought it from Summit. Good to go. So I did the same thing with it. Wasn't getting the lights working right, and so I'd already bought the harness with it, but the harness was a little bit is a little shaky at first, but I finally got that all squared away and figured out, and headlights work great now. So I'm going to get back to work on cracking down on figuring these lights out. I'm going to wire up that harness. I'm not going to fully wire in everything yet. I just want to see if I'm getting the right colors out of the bulbs, but this wiring harness should help. Okay, the first phase of this is just disconnecting the battery. So that's what I'm going to get in there and do right now. You don't need to see a video of me disconnecting the battery. Okay, so the next part of this, I've got to check the routing of the headlight relay harness. The two large ring terminals must reach the battery, and the two relays need to be mounted in a convenient place on the fender well or radiator support. I will probably end up mounting them somewhere down in here because I have a deal that covers all this area, so I'll keep it nice and clean. But then I've got to make sure that the rest of the harness can be mounted or routed to the headlights. So the headlight, which will be the passenger side, nearest to the relay is connected first. So I'll connect this first relay setup in, and I'll show you a little bit more of that here in a second. Okay, so this is what your relays look like. There's going to be two of those. They're both 30 amp. You're going to need to take those and then plug them in. This is where it plugs into your positive side of your battery. Okay, and then these are your relays, or the receptacles anyway for the relays. So you're just going to plug those straight in to this. There's one in, and then here's one more. So now both of my relays are in there. And again, this plugs into your positive side, your positive terminal of your battery. Next, since we're over there on the passenger side, this part right here, it plugs in, should plug in to my old harness, okay? The harness that I have in there, this should plug directly into that. And then the old harness is not going to be used for anything else. Next, this is my new passenger side harness, and this is the ground for that side. So I'll ground this in, use this new harness to hook up the new lights, and then this side will stretch all the way over to the driver's side, and then this is what is used for the driver's side headlight, and then there's also the ground for that driver's side headlight. So that is what I remember, from wiring up the 59 here, and I believe that's exactly how this is going to work. Luckily for me, I set up my camera right next to some halogen bulbs, and it's throwing off a lot of interference, so I'm having to do voiceover for all this. I'm not going to hook into my battery yet because I'm just in the test phase, but this is the male plug that come in the harness, and we're going to start off by putting that male part of the harness into the female socket, okay? It'll go in right there. I'm not going to push it all the way forward really because this is just a temporary setup to see if we're running. But then that is in, okay? That is all that's going to happen with the old harness that's in your car. It is over and done. Now you're going to leave that harness grounded, but you're not going to use it for anything else. You're also going to need to ground the new part of the harness, and now you're just using the harness and harness alone. So you're going to ground both sides, but we're on the passenger side right now. I can't remember everything that I was saying right here, but for the most part, you need to make sure you ground it. Hey, there's that wire right there, ground it. And then work your way over to the other side, ground that side, And since this is just a 2 headlight system, it's a lot easier. So I'm finishing up grounding right here. I've unplugged that harness. It was just going to be easier for me to ground that. Now, a key thing with grounding stuff, you may want to take like a wire brush or something like that and clean that metal real good so that you have a good clean surface for grounding. Okay, very important that you have a good clean surface for grounding. Nothing that will interfere with it like paint or rubber or anything like that. So I've plugged the harness back in. I've got my passenger side set up. I'm showing you that I still don't have this plugged into the battery yet. There's just no sense to do it at this point, but I'm prepping for that. Also, I'm saying here that I'm going to tuck all this wiring right in behind the grill, okay? It's all going to be hidden out of the way. It's going to be in between the radiator support and the grill. Oh, and for the love of Pete, please clean the bulb before final installation and use bulb grease. Gosh. Okay, I'm going to go cut out some of my lights, and then we're going to get on trying to test this thing. Okay, this may take some finagling, but I'm going to go turn on the headlight switch and see what we got. Alright, we have no headlights, which I think I know why. No, I don't know why. I do not understand at the moment why we don't have headlights. That's problematic. I can't tell. So